Hey guys, welcome to Get Busy Watching. I'm your host, Honest Dan. Let's talk movies.
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
Yep, that tastes like $2 wine. Okay, I really wish I'd made the time to review both Damnation and Vendetta. I guess I'll just have to save them for a rainy day. I like them both, if that counts as a review. Damnation had a really cool scene with liquors in it, and Vendetta was just over-the-top nonsense fun. Anywho, the new show. Resident Evil. For those of you that don't know, I'm a casual fan of the franchise. In terms of the games, I've barely played them. A little of the RE1 remake on GameCube, a little less of the original RE3, very little of RE4, enjoyed RE5 with friends, but screw playing that game solo, and one campaign of RE6, which might as well have not been a Resident Evil game at all. Oh, and I played Outbreak and a little of Outbreak File 2. But not much else. In terms of the movie franchise, I liked them enough as a teenager and early adulthood, but look back on them now and think they're not great. But I adore the animated movies. As for other upcoming Resident Evil projects, I could care freaking less about the Resident Evil Wet Woke show, and what little I've read about the new movie, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, coming out later this year, doesn't quite encourage me. It looks like it's trying to combine the first two Resident Evil games into a single movie, since the cast consists of characters like Jill Valentine and Wesker, as well as Claire Redfield and Leon Kennedy, and Jill and Wesker have never met Claire or Leon, canonically at least. Wait, I didn't play much of Code Veronica either. Did Claire meet Wesker in that game? Had to have been brief as hell if they did. But out of all the content that's coming out this year, Infinite Darkness is kind of the only one that I really care about. So let's get into it. This is my honest opinion of Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. Set between Resident Evils 4 and 5. In the country of Panamstan, Claire Redfield, reprised by Stephanie Penicello, is working for Terra Save, which is trying to get government funds to build schools for refugee children who have survived Panamstan's recent civil war. She discovers that a mute boy has drawn what he's seen and fears there is another zombie outbreak. In America, Leon Kennedy, reprised by Nick Apostolidis, is called to the White House to investigate a hacking incident, but the White House is suddenly under attack by zombies.
A little boy drew them. They're what the Civil War looked like 6 years ago? Doesn't that look a lot like Raccoon City?
Before I get started, I just wanted to say, 4 episodes, less than half an hour each. This should have just been a movie. And this first episode, I don't know, man. It just seems like a time waster, and I don't mean that in a good way. The first big issue that I had was the opening. I feel like it wasn't all that necessary. I'm sure it's trying to build up to something, but I don't know if this show has the luxury to waste time on complex plots that need building up. Things need to happen, and the happenings so far feel arbitrary. The opening military attack on Panamstan? Just start things off with action. I guess it's supposed to set up Jason, voiced by Ray Chase, and his backstory, but that's not overly clear yet.
Command to Mad Dog. Stand down and return to formation.
I'm happy to see Claire's back as a compassionate character. Something about that just feels right. But I better see her with a gun soon, or I am gonna throw a hissy.
Well, if you're here, then you're safe. I'll make sure of it.
I'm not entirely sold on these new 3 characters. They just seem like personalities right now. Jason is the gruff, no-nonsense guy.
Like I say, in this line of work, luck doesn't solve problems. Skills do.
Patrick, voiced by Billy Kametz, is the cowardly custard. Seriously, how does this dude not know how to handle zombies? He's a Secret Service guy, for crying out loud. Jeez.
Stand down or I'll shoot!
And Shen Mei, voiced by Jonah Shao, just seems like the woman that Leon flirts with. Got a bit of that Asian persuasion thanks to Ada Wong there, Leon, my boy?
You want to get dinner when this is all over?
Sure. But full disclosure, I have a young man waiting for me.
By the way, the constant flashing of the flashlight, is that a real tactic? I mean, maybe around corners like here, that could make sense, disorient an enemy with a blinding flash, but here, where she's flashing the light in the same room 3 times, wouldn't the first flash give away your position and the enemy time to readjust to their situation? I don't know. Someone with tactical experience, let me know.
Classified. Right.
The action is fine. That first zombie all fast when he ain't got legs, that was pretty freaky. Some pretty satisfying violence and gore in certain scenes certainly makes my inner sociopath happy. And of course, the campy lines are always welcomed.
Rest in peace, assholes.
I'm just not entirely sold on the plot yet. Hacked servers, a war-torn country on another continent. I'm really hoping things start, making sense and start coming together real fast. There's a mystery with Jason, like what's up with his arm. So there's that, I guess. I also want to see bioweapons sooner than later. And some of the details in the character designs are a little shoddy. Like right here, it's fine. You can see the wrinkles, the pores in the characters' faces, but then you've got this guy who looks like a tried and true video game glitch and he's still rendering.
Hey. You good?
As episode 1 goes, it's pretty lackluster so far. Let's carry on and see what else it's got going for it, but I hope things pick up really fast. My honest rating for episode 1, a 3 out of 5.
Leon, Shen Mei, with me. I'm counting on those skills of yours.
Leon, Jason, and Shen Mei are on their way to Shanghai, China to hopefully discover the culprits of the White House server hack when their submarine is attacked and the crew is killed. Claire digs deeper into the Panam Stan Civil War's aftermath and the surviving Mad Dog soldiers, most of which have committed suicide except for 2 members.
Do you know where the root of terror comes from?
I don't follow.
It starts with fear.
While I still think that the show is taking its sweet time in getting to the point, I admit what it's trying to set up is intriguing me. We already know that something's up with Jason, we just haven't been told what yet. What did he do to be labeled as a hero? What did he see in that house? And after the troops were taken out of Panam Stan, why did the Mad Dog unit survivors commit suicide? Why hasn't Jason? And who is the mysterious second survivor? Some of these questions are annoying to ask, but the others are keeping me glued to the story. But as I keep saying, this show needs to tie things off before long or it's going to flounder.
We saw something we shouldn't have.
We need to tell someone. People need to know what happened back there. Tell them what? Who'd believe us?
I gotta say, while I was hoping for big dumb monsters in terms of BOWs, a swarm of zombie rats was actually pretty freaking sweet. Lent its way to some gnarly gore in action. I'll take it, but I better see bigger ones in the near future.
This just keeps getting better.
I won't give anything away here, which might change in the next episode, but I am interested in where these characters are going and what they're planning next. Some of it was a surprise, some of it not, but it's got me hooked. But this better be building up to some wow resolutions, or this show is running a huge risk of being unsatisfactory.
Chelsea.
Still not delivering any payoffs and I'm halfway done. The action was awesome, and the story is a bit more intriguing now, so I have to give a little bit of credit where it's due. I'm all for a good mystery, but right now things are just a little too vague. I'm holding off my final rating until the very end, of course. But Oh, if there better be some answers. Good answers. My honest rating for Episode 2, a 4 out of 5.
It's a new world. We just gotta roll with it.
You cannot save a country if you don't give a damn about the people in it.
Claire continues to investigate the Mad Dog's suicide and discovers the body of the last one aside from Jason. Leon follows Shen Mei to her home, who reveals the truth behind what she and Jason were doing, and Leon is convinced of her intentions.
He held that over their heads and used the Mad Dog's unit for personal covert operations. They were Wilson's pets.
Things are getting paid off here, but not in a satisfying way. Okay, so here's the details. Spoilers ahead if you haven't watched the show. During the Mad Dog's survival in the city, they're attacked by zombies. They all got infected but had a little inoculation that staved off becoming zombies themselves. Turns out, Secretary Wilson, voiced by Brad Venable, was behind that outbreak in Panamstan, working with a pharmaceutical company to create bioweapons, and Panamstan was a test run. By the way, Junsi is a homie. That dude had the inoculation, allowed himself to turn into a zombie so the other guys would not have to. That's some Captain America stuff right there. Respect for Junsi. Probably the best character in the entire show, and with only 5 minutes worth of screen time. Both impressive and a shame.
Inhibitor. Or you'll turn like them.
The Mad Dogs made it out alive and were awarded medals and declared heroes, but Wilson forced them to keep quiet in exchange for a healthy supply of the inoculation, having used them to push his political agenda for 6 years. Not entirely sure why the Mad Dogs have been committing suicide. Maybe they'd had enough? Something more to the story? Who knows? All we know so far is that only recently, Jason and Shen Mei discovered proof in her younger brother, Junsi. A chip was embedded in the prototype bioweapons meant to record a bunch of stuff, including who created them, i.e. Wilson.
He thinks all the evidence was burned to ash.
Including your brother.
Okay, so my thoughts. Why did the submarine crew have to die? I feel like there was a better way to go about it than the brutal methods they ultimately went with. I'm supposed to sympathize with Jason and Shen Mei, but innocent men are dead because of them who had nothing to do with what happened. I have to assume that they're the ones who let loose the rat BOWs, so you know these men died in a horrific way. There didn't feel like a need to go to the extremes they did with the crew and the sub. And had Jason been smarter about communicating what his rogue actions were all about, then there wouldn't have been a need for that shootout in that room. Terror starts with fear. Dude, say human sentences, will ya?
We're trying to expose a conspiracy.
So are the QAnon crazies out there, girly. You can't just say blanket statements like that. You gotta give me details for me to give a crap. Anyway, very little of this matters when Jason blows up the house, who did not die in that shootout, by the way. Totally called it, but then again, who didn't? Then Leon reveals what he thinks Jason's ultimate plan is.
He wants the world to know what real terror's like. He wants that to be the new reality for everyone, and then he wants to burn it all down.
Freaking what? Not that Resident Evil baddies have a reputation for having the most relatable motivations to do the things they do, but I feel like this is one of the lousiest ones, as well as the most cliched. Oh, because I experienced bad things, now the world needs to experience bad things. The hell does this world have to do with anything? If he's out for revenge, Wilson's the right way to go. The plan to expose him for how clumsy that was articulated on everyone's end was still a sound idea. So, why the hell did you blow up the house?
This is so fucking stupid.
Alright, so I think I have a final verdict on this show, but we got one more episode to go. Come on, guys, end with a bang, please! I'm begging you! My honest rating for Episode 3, a weak 3 out of 5.
But we still have a unit in there that won't make it out in time.
Everything in the area is considered infected. Burn it all.
Yes, sir.
Claire has been kidnapped by Secretary Wilson, who confirms that he's trying to start a war with China in order to officially use his BOWs as weapons for mass production. His plans are halted when Jason shows up in the facility and no longer cares for the inhibitor, the drug that keeps the bioweapons in check, and in turn, mutates. Leon and Shen Mei arrive hoping to stop Jason and keep him in the facility.
What kind of monster are you? No, I take it back. You're just fucking nuts.
Shut up!
We didn't end on a high note, guys. In fact, it's kind of a terrible ending. First major issue, it's only a rehash of every villain's plans. Weaponize the BOWs for military application. Kill some civvies in the process, blah, 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 blah. Been there, done that, got the ring, actually. I know, the entire franchise has been built on that concept, but each individual game has been about something different. The military application of insert your lettered virus here is simply lore and context as to why there's zombies running around and why the Umbrella Corporation made it in the first place. But in this timeline, we should be well past the military application plotline. Just saying.
And what's wrong with profiting off the fruits of one's labor? Nothing.
But I guess that's just personal preference. What's actually wrong with the final episode? Well, we follow stupid characters. Specifically, Shen Mei. I don't know what it is about characters in these movies trying to appeal to the inner humanity of a grotesque monster. Even if they could, there's usually not much hope in that humanity being retained for very long, or they wouldn't ever want to live like that, so you might as well just go with the gut instinct of shooting it until it's dead. Oh, but not Shen Mei. Nope. The guy who blew up her house and killed her brother and grandfather, she still has to appeal to his better nature. But hey, at least it works out and Jason gives up on his endeavor. Well, no shit! And as far as freak mutations into big dumb monsters go, Jason's is pretty underwhelming. He looks like he could be a throwaway henchman in a Hulk movie. I have no idea why they went with such a threadbare design for a final monster. Why are the earliest designs of the Resident Evil games still the most iconic? The Tyrant, Mr. X, Nemesis, they're the single greatest RE monsters in the series. But even later installments of the franchise had better throwaway monsters that would have been more threatening than this guy. And Jason's intelligence takes a nosedive off the dumbass tree and hits every branch on the way down. Look at this. As he's thrashing at the ceiling to go outside, those bullets that Leon's firing might as well be water balloons. Yet Jason decides to dedicate his attention to them even though they don't pose a single threat to him. Ignore them and get on with your mission. Ugh!
I will open their eyes to true terror. It's the only way to keep this tragedy from ever happening again.
No! It doesn't work that way!
There's only a couple of saving graces. The one that got the biggest chuckle out of me was Leon just finding a wall of rocket launchers. If you don't know Resident Evil, every single game ends with the protagonist firing a rocket at the big dumb gross monster.
Hey, sexy.
And of course, Claire. Claire is just the most awesome character. Even when she's supposed to be one of the more passive characters in the franchise, she's still the most interesting and coolest of the dudes. If I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm sick of Leon Kennedy and Chris Redfield. They're not the cool characters, guys. The ladies are.
So that's how it's gonna be. You do things your way and I do things mine.
And that ending. What's with the Resident Evil franchise turning its most beloved characters into asshats these days? Chris was a dick to Ethan Winters in Resident Evil Village, and now Leon is a dick to Claire, who just wants a copy of the chip to expose the wrongdoings of Wilson, who survives, by the way. Oh, sure, you could tell me all day long that he's just trying to protect her from every American agent being sicked on her. But how? Why? This is exposing a pretty big bad guy who was a traitor to America. Call me crazy, but I think when people do that, they're called heroes.
I can't.
What?
2 words. That's all Claire gets. I hate Leon Kennedy! My honest rating for episode 4, a week 3 out of 5. Saved only by Claire.
When are you gonna stop treating me like a kid?
Probably never.
This was disappointing. There's almost no reason for it to be a show. Should have just been a movie and saved me some time. Most of the characters aren't that likable due to being stupid. Not everything is wrapped up in a satisfying way, and this show successfully made Leon a thoroughly unlikable character. Saving graces include Claire, thank God. The action was pretty solid, especially the swarm of rats in episode 2. And the little nods to the video games will be enough to make you chuckle and be your own personal Leonardo DiCaprio meme. I am a bit disappointed in this show, but I would rather have a faithful interpretation of Resident Evil that's not all that great than whatever this woke crap is. And yeah, I'll reserve judgment for the movie when more details crop up, but I'm just not excited for it. We will inevitably see. As for now, this show, I mean, I guess if you're a Resident Evil fan, I'm going to say, yeah, check it out. See if you like it more than I did. But I'm not exactly clamoring for a season 2. My honest rating for Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, a 3 out of 5.
Hey, Leon. That outfit doesn't suit you.
Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there. Hope to see you soon. One final caveat as you guys move on with your day, I've decided to test my luck at a Patreon, so please consider supporting the channel. No obligations, of course, no content is gated off, but any and all contributions would mean a lot. Link in the description. Have a great one, folks.